We're all face up right now. What does that mean? That means that we are here this week, whenever you find this, and imagine that you're a gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous flower. And the flower, all of the sudden, has been turned the right way up. So as you are now sitting the right way up, your roots are down into the soil and they're stretching out. And your stem is all of the sudden beginning to come up and your blooms are like this. Now notice how that imagery feels inside of you. Because of course you might say, Coco, of course a flower needs to be the right way up. But can you imagine and can you believe that your entire life up until this moment right now, you didn't live this way? You were a flower that was turned the other way. Meaning your blooms, your beautiful blooms. So imagine you're a rose. Okay, see the rose. The rose was put into the soil. And then your roots were up this way. Just feel that for a moment. Just imagine walking through a garden and all of a sudden you see a flower with its bloom buried and its roots up towards the sky. What would you say? What would you say to yourself? I don't know about you, but I would be like, what the fuck is happening here? Who planted this flower? Why is its poor, beautiful blooms all covered with soil? And why is its roots up? How is it supposed to grow? How is it supposed to become? How is it supposed to find the sun? So just take that in for a moment and see that image. That doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter if you don't understand anything about anything. That just quote unquote doesn't make sense, does it? But it's how you've been living. So notice as you've come up to this flower and the soil is all on its blooms and its roots are up here. Notice that as this flower, it can feel suffocated. It can feel lost. It can feel confused. Know how your entire life you might have used language of like the shit just doesn't make sense. You know, there's got to be something more. I feel so constricted. I feel so overwhelmed. You know, I feel emotional. I feel lost. I feel sad. Notice how you would go like this into bouts of sadness and bouts of, you know, little bit of happiness only when something outside of you had pushed away the soil. So maybe you went shopping, maybe you went on a vacation, maybe you got money, you know, maybe somebody told you how beautiful you were. Whatever outside of you pulled some of that soil away so that your rose bush, your rose bloom was acknowledged. So notice that. Let's take that in. The rose is buried by the soil. Your entire life, whoever you are, you feel a certain way inside. You go on this wave and this roller coaster over and over and over with it, but you deny that feeling. Because when you look around at everyone else, they're faking that they're the right size up. How are they faking it? They're faking it by their words, language. Go on social media and see how people write. See how they display their pictures. See how they do. Is there a feeling behind it? Or are they faking that they are the right side up? Notice how your entire life you could look around at people and maybe they had a bigger house, a better car, more money, hustle, this, to try and duplicate the feeling and the embodiment of what it feels like to be a flower that's just naturally the right way up. So we have believed our entire life that in order to be of any value and to have any type of beauty and bloom, you had to do these things. You had to check off the box. You had to do all of this so that you could feel a sense of anything in your blooms. Because how the fuck else were you ever gonna feel? Something had to happen. You had to get that promotion. You had to get that raise. You had to have that money in the bank account. You had to, go on that vacation and then post it on social media so that the soil from the vacation, the soil from the job, the soil got pushed away, and then all of a sudden the bloom was recognized. It was validated. It was seen. And you could convince yourself that you were the right way up. And we would all do that, myself including. And I was chasing and chasing. You were chasing and chasing something outside of you to help you breathe, to help you feel the sun, to help you understand yourself. And so everything outside of you is like, oh my God, you need to fucking do this. You need to do that. This soil, remove the soil. But the soil never fucking stays removed. It never stays removed. You do the thing. It gives you that relief. You have the words, you have the language. And then the soil comes back and covers it back up. And then you're like, oh my God, I remember when I was away, I felt this way. Or I remember when I did this, I felt this way. Yes, because the soil was removed. You were still ass up in the air with your roots, dry as can be, no soil taking care of you, upside down, living the upside down life. And the whole world was built and created to sustain the upside down life. So because you felt crazy that you were upside down, because nobody fucking around you could provide language of what that feels like, everybody was just helping you cope with you being upside down, giving you the language, the awareness of what it feels like to be upside down, but doing nothing to help you flip the right way up and doing nothing to help you plant your roots in the soil, understand that you're a bloom with a beautiful stem that is your portal, and your bloom is your creation. Heaven fucking forbid we teach on that, embody that, or become that. No. Heaven forbid. It's gotta be fake. It can't exist. You're an upside down flower. Don't you dare fucking say that you're anything but that. Yep. I think we can all raise our hand right now and be like, that's been my life. So when we start to accept and realize and see that we're an upside down flower, we better not talk about it. We better not talk about it. We better not tell anybody, because we're going to seem like we're fucking crazy. We're going to seem like we're fucked. We're going to seem like this is just woohoo, whatever the words are inside of you. Well, of course. Because if you actually accept it and realize that you're an upside down flower, you realize that you're not the crazy one. You realize that you're actually mainstream and everybody else is fucking crazy because they think that living as an upside down flower is actually legit and a good way to live. Let's go back to 10 minutes ago when I said, if you walk through a garden and you saw all the roses, all the snapdragons, all the dahlias flipped upside down, what would you say? whoever's doing this garden is fucking crazy. This is crazy. How are they supposed to grow? They're dying. And then what? The gardener who manages that gardener comes and says, oh, no. I have a fertilizer. I have a drug. I have something, X, Y, and Z. And I just keep feeding it to my flowers and they like it. Their blooms like it. They like to be in the soil. Come on. What would you say? You would laugh just like I am right now at that imagery because it literally is crazy. So guess what? This week, the crazy just went up a level because so many billions of people in the last, 4 years, but just even this year alone, have energetically and consciously made a choice to flip the fucking flowers the right way up. So because you're watching this, because you said yes, all these moments have got us to here right now. And the flowers, energetically, you can imagine it, a strong wind came in. And then those flowers all tipped and went the right way up. So notice you're included in that. So this week now, notice yourself, look at others, and all of a sudden, you are the right way up. And you don't know what to do with yourself. And you don't know where to place these new emotions, these new feelings, these new thoughts, these new ideas. You don't know what to do, perhaps. And you feel confused and overwhelmed and disorientated, and everything inside of you wants to distract. Everything inside of you wants to find chaos and drama and blame and do whatever you can instead of just in this moment right now, you with me, we're sitting here. Let's just all breathe for a second and see whatever flower you see. In front of me, I have a vase of the most beautiful snapdragons that I just picked from my cut flower garden. So that's what I see. And all of a sudden, let's just see that flower, whatever one it is, and notice how all of a sudden you see it in yourself. And you're standing here, you're sitting here, whatever it is, and all of a sudden that flower is the right way up. And notice, you look to your left and you look to your right, and it's like we're in some sort of movie where everybody all of a sudden looks down at themselves and they see things that they never saw before about themselves. They never saw their blooms. They never saw their fucking stem. They never saw the sun. They never saw the moon or the stars. It's like a baby when they first discover their hands and their feet and they're staring and they're like this. That's you this week, moving forward. You're like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And you're looking at yourself. And for a lot of people, that's overwhelming and that's a lot. So the first initial thing that you want to do is flip yourself back down, put your bloom into the soil and fucking go like this and be like, no. And then you listen to your mind right now that's telling you this whole fucking story, whatever the story is, and it's not real. Okay? It's not real. Because I'm going to teach you something so you can really understand yourself right now. And this is so life-changing and so important. Because as this plant that you are, this flower, all of a sudden came up from the ground and it flipped the right side up, okay? Notice when you were underground, your blooms, your head, okay, right here, see it? It got its own little radio set. Okay, so when you were underground, in order to manage your blooms underground, imagine that there was an irrigation system. Okay, it went through, and it went right through your ears. Okay, specifically this side, your right-hand side. Okay, but it's individual to each person. So whatever ear you're noticing it on, maybe it's both, but for me, it's this side. Okay, notice that irrigation system dug through your blooms. Now that you're the right side up, that irrigation system is in your ear, but you're the right way up. So the irrigation system, the life upside down, okay, it doesn't like that you are the right way up. No, no, no. So it still wants to control and keep you in the soil. So let's call this little radio set a centiseed. Not centipede, centiseed. And centiseed is really pissed right now that I'm even telling you about it. But that's why we've made it this far in life, so that you don't have to operate from it. Centiseed is annoying, okay? It's so annoying. Centiseed sounds like a Google Maps. It sounds like when Siri is telling you to go right, but you're like, I swear to God, I swear the bakery is over here to the left, but you're listening to, as Skylar would call it, Giggle Maps, and it's fucking wrong. So you go and you take the right and you're on this dirt road, and all of a sudden you're, stuck in the mud and you're backing up and you're like looking on the map and you're like, what the fuck? I knew I should have went that way. I felt it. I felt it. Centiseed, his whole thing, now that you are the right way up, is to try and get you to go into the ground and not believe in yourself, not trust yourself, not listen to yourself, not create and follow your dreams. It wants you to be able to just sit in your shit, literally sit in your shit, horse manure, in your blooms. Take your beautiful flower, your beautiful rose, and flip it back upside down, get the horse manure, pile it on your blooms, fucking lock into the centiseed, and call it a life. Versus acknowledging that this voice is not fucking real. And that you deserve better. You are better. You are here to do amazing things. You are here. We have never, ever been here before, and we knew we were going to be. We knew we were going to be in this moment when the flower flipped the right way up. And now this stupid radio, we'll call it, this stupid centiseed is yapping away, and it's making you crazy. And its whole point of that is to shut down your creation, your stem, your bloom. So how do we get over this? You acknowledge that it's there. You acknowledge that it's there. So, in my early work, I used to always say the voice in your head isn't real. What was I talking about then? I was talking about this. The voice in your head is not real. The voice in your head that is in that ear that is telling you stuff is always going to be negative. It's always going to be doom and gloom. It's always going to be going into scenario situations. And it is always, and it is always talking about fear. You've got to be scared of something. You are not good enough. You are this, you are that. Somebody else is better. You don't deserve this. You can't do this, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. It is not saying anything fucking positive. Ever. Ever. If you hear anything positive, it's coming from here. It's coming from a feeling in your stomach. It is coming from a positive feeling in your stem. It moves all the way up, and then it comes as it comes as a burst out of you. So if anybody's ever done art, if anybody's ever, written anything back in elementary school, if you have done anything creative, okay? If you have experienced any type of creativity in your life whatsoever, even if it's baking, even if it's coloring, like whatever you have felt, what I'm seeing right now is, imagine you were at those restaurants back when we were kids and the placemats and you could color. It's like, how did you choose the colors? There's a box of crayons. You pull the color because it would be coming from a feeling in your stomach. It would come all the way up and you would just pull it and you would start coloring. But then over here, the centipede would be like, you shouldn't be doing yellow. You shouldn't be doing pink. Who the fuck says? The fake fucking voice. This voice is trying to do whatever it can to rock your physical body, which will put you into fear, to then live in your fucking emotions and feel the wave. And before you know it, your flower starts tipping, okay? Starts tipping. And then all of a sudden your ass is in the air again and you're like, holy fuck, I fucking am back in the soil. And then what do? You have language to cope. So if I use me as an example, go look at all of this, all the work that we've had the last 5 years. Go listen to the podcast. Go see the Instagram posts. Go, whatever it is that you need. You can see it out in the fucking world, okay? Language is a coping mechanism for the program. Because you don't need the language, you just freaking do. But when you're upside down, all of a sudden the soil starts hitting you and you start using words, okay, to sell to yourself. And then others sell to you through these words. So notice that, because as soon as you're upside down, there's gotta be a coping word and something to help you cope with the fact that you turned upside down, instead of you just owning that you did. Cool, you did. You're learning how to stay the right way up. You're learning, you're remembering. It's a lot when you've lived the whole life upside down. So you're learning how to be the right side up. You're learning to understand yourself. You're learning to see what got you here. You're activating, okay? You're activating your flower, which holds all of your DNA. And cellularly, it holds all of your creation. Everything is in your stem. Everything is in your bloom. It is not in your motherfucking roots. Your roots are where you stabilize in the soil. That is where you grow. That is where you become. And then your stem comes up, and that is where you bloom. That is where your DNA activates. All, and I mean all, of your DNA that the world has not wanted to be activated or remembered is here now, because the flowers have flipped. We are in a new world. We are in the world now. All is happening. So the pressure that you could be feeling is this: the acceptance of you living the upside down life and how hard that was. I don't care. You don't fucking care. Nobody cares what you have outside of yourself. What was in the soil to go over the blooms? Cool. You built that life, you made the choices from that life, maybe you fucking still love all that soil, but at the end of the fucking day, the soil is awesome. We're here to live, we're here to have the shirt, we're here to dye the hair, we're here to do whatever it is that you want to do with the correct intent. It's here in the soil for you to live in, not for you to be buried in. Take that in. The soil is meant for you to be lived in. So the house that you've created, the dreams that you're creating, the clothes you wear, how you feel about yourself, it all sits in your soil so that your roots can grow and massage into that soil. But previously, and you can see it in the whole world because the world hasn't caught up to this, the soil buries you. Because what does it do? It buries your blooms because you're upside down. So when you look at your life moving forward, when you look at other people's lives, you can really see from a non-judgment place because you're them and they're you. Doesn't matter whether you're upside down, whether they're making choices from being upside down, or whether they're starting to understand themselves the right side up. And here's the thing, there's old imagery that I used really early in the beginning of my work, and it was called the crab pot. And it's like, you put all the crabs into a pot, okay? And, or a basket, however you want to see it. And one crab starts to leave out and all the other crabs are like, no, you've got to stay. Something's wrong. Why are you leaving? What are you doing? That is now happening in the truth as we've now flipped. But the difference is, and you really need to hear this, the difference between that imagery when I brought it forward years and years ago versus now is everyone has flipped. Everyone has flipped. So it's not so much about what are you doing now? It's more of I can feel you because I feel this exact same way. And I'm gonna maybe get the guns out at you and start shooting shots from my wounds and my fears and my radio because I'm so scared within myself that it's possible for me to feel as good as what you're starting to do too. Whereas before, it was a straight up, you're fucked. Grab the crab, put it back in the pot, and we're just not even going there because you sit in the pot and you shut the fuck up. Which, what was the pot? The pot was life underneath the ground. There was just no consciousness level. The energy, the consciousness of the planet was just not at a level where it was more of a we than a me. That was me. Because everybody just needed to stay underground. Now, all that soil is being churned up because all of the flowers have flipped. So what does that mean for you? It means you need to understand yourself and you cannot avoid yourself. And you can probably giggle right now. You can probably giggle within yourself being like, right, I can see things, I can feel things. I didn't even know that these things existed in me before. Just small awarenesses or small choices even inside of you where you're like, I don't want to live this way, or I want to move, or this relationship is shit, or this job, or I always wanted to be a baker, or I always wanted to work on a cruise ship, or I don't want to talk to that family member anymore. And just so many thought bubbles, we'll call them, like little bubbles are in front of you now, and you can actually read what's inside. It actually looks like those balloons where you have like the sparkles and stuff inside. So all these balloons are now in front of you and they have words in them about yourself. And you're finally ready to look at the balloon versus popping the balloon, being like, no, what, me a baker? Pop that. What? Me move? Pop that. What? Pop that. You spent your whole life just fucking popping these balloons, and then there'd be those ones that you would like keep. and you would like tie it, you know, in your bedroom, and you'd be like, oh, I'm just gonna look at that balloon every now and then, but ooh, it's too much. It can't happen to me because X, Y, and Z. I live with my ass up and my roots in the air. It's impossible for me. It's a new dawn. It's a new fucking dawn. We are here for this new world, this new life, this quantum life, you know, beyond the dirt and the soil. We are now flowers that infinitely bloom, infinitely create beyond your wildest fucking dreams. But you first have to admit that you're upside fucking down for majority of your life. And what do you do to understand yourself and forgive? Forgive yourself for the choices you made when you did not know what you know now, or you're even starting to know now. That's a big one. That's a big one. And I'm going to repeat it. You have to forgive yourself. You did the best you could with the information that you had at the time. And for a majority of people, they didn't even have any fucking information. You were just living with your roots up, and you were down. So forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and own it. Own the choices you made, own the things that you did, own it. Notice the people that you're mad at. Notice the stories you've created around them. Turn your finger back on yourself and see where you played a part in that, and forgive yourself. Because the only reason you're mad, the only reason you're stuck on that is so that you avoid the acceptance and the forgiveness within yourself. Because everyone alive has been part of this upside down life and the seed manipulation that took place within it. Now, that does not mean that things were okay. Okay? It does not mean that things that happened to you in your underground life were okay. Of course not. There's tons of stuff that we have all been through. We all have our stories. We all have our traumas. We all have our things, but they all exist underground. And they all exist from the life of the underground, because whoever hurt you was hurt. And they were unconscious. They did not have the language to understand themselves, so they just repeated what the underground, what the radio, what the irrigation system told them to do. They knew not what they did. And when they did know, they made that choice because they did not know how to undo it. Now, I know that people can go into a whole fucking story about this and be victim and say, how can you forgive a murderer? Or how can you forgive a child molester? Or how can you forgive X, Y, and Z? Because the longer that you stay in that story of they shouldn't have done that, the longer you hold yourself in that story and in that movie with them. It is not okay. I will repeat that over and over. But the only thing we can do on this planet now is understand ourselves, forgive ourselves, and make better choices moving forward to be what we came here to do, actually, through embodiment. Not through talking, not through the words, and not through the finger pointing of being a victim, an abuser, and a rescuer. That is the new world. In order for the new world to move forward in the direction that it is going, whether you want to forgive somebody or yourself or not, it is going. Because we have to clean up the mess now that was created from being underground. That's what we're doing. And we cannot stop it now because we're all the right way up. So you might have a dance a lot of your days where you see that you put yourself upside down again. But what you need to understand is your new default in life, your new truth in life, energetically, is the right way up. So have at her. Keep doing the merry-go-round. Keep being addicted to going upside down and living in those patterns, those habits, that fear, that doubt, that hesitancy, that lack of trust inside of yourself. You will keep doing that dance until you don't. And there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong. But this gives you the language to understand what's happening. Because your default, and I'm going to repeat that, your default is the right way up now. You are the right way up. But you now can make a choice to learn how to stay there for yourself, and then a byproduct for your partner, for your kids, for your mom, for whoever, because you are the example. You are the example, and people feel the example. Why? Because people know you. Everybody knows everybody underground. You know what it's like. You know what your mom looks like underground. You know what your best friend looks like underground. But when they start to flip and live from your blooms, you feel that. You can see that shift. And that's how we move forward, by example, not by talking about it, by doing the things. And when you live the right way up, you hold the personal responsibility, you hold the personal accountability, and you hold the integrity of being the flower that you are. You are the original seed happening right now in this lifetime. You are the original seed, remembering who you are, that makes all the other roses. So you have an integrity to understand yourself and feel better and live unreal. Because when you're the right way up, the sun, the moon, the light, everything sustains you. And then all of that pours through your stem down into your roots, and you create. You are a creator. You are a creator. And we're remembering how to do that now. But first you have to stabilize yourself to live in your soil, not be covered by it. Because on the right way up, notice that your roots go all the way down to the soil, and you move and you spread out and you live in it. Yeah, you're still covered by the soil, but you're living in it. There's a whole different feeling. So when you're living in it now, the right way up, you start looking around and you see it, all the things that you bought, that you have, whatever it is, that you're like, well, that's why. Why did I have that? Why did I do that? That just buries my bloom. Like, what? That just buries my bloom. There's another one that buries my bloom. So no one's saying that, you might not love the bedspread that you bought, but maybe how you make your bed is different now, because before you did it to bury yourself. That's kind of a funny example, but do you see what I'm saying? You might realize that the house that you bought or the house that you're renting was literally to bury your blooms, to appear that you were the right way up. And now you're like, what the heck? Why do I even have this 6-bedroom house? I don't need it. I don't even want it. I never wanted it. All these things are going to start coming to you. And for many people, it's starting to hit people hard and fast, and they're overwhelmed with it. So breathe. It's okay. You're okay. It can feel intense, okay? It can feel a lot. Your physical is being hit, okay? Meaning As soon as your physical is hit with this overwhelm, this confusion, whatever the word is for you, your mind all of the sudden is being activated with this centipede so that it starts to tell you stories and fucking fake fucking radio bullshit. Okay? Not real, not real, not real. So if you look back on this YouTube, maybe a month ago, I talked about AI technology and how our phones cause that. Yes, the phones, the TVs, all the technology charges up this. So if I can help you with anything, we're here to be on our phones, okay? I personally love my flower videos and my fashion videos and, you know, the YouTube videos and all the things. I love it. But know your why. Know why you're on it. If you find that you're just scrolling and you have no fucking awareness why you're on there, if you're not on there to look at your flower videos or look at your sports cars or whatever it is that actually brings you joy, you're just going to charge up your centipede, and then you're going to feel foggy, you're going to feel tired, and your radio centipede is going to yap. And then all of a sudden, you're gonna be like standing in your kitchen trying to make supper, half falling asleep and fucking feeling like death internally. It's happening that fast where you're just like, wah, wah, wah. I just don't feel good. Or you have this story, all your insecurities, everything, all that starts hitting you like an anthill. Did you charge it up? And if you did, again, forgive yourself, no big deal, be better within yourself. Okay, cool, I see that. I scrolled on TikTok for 3 hours. I have no idea why I was even doing that. Right, because I'm upside down and I'm coping from being upside down. Okay, I see that. I'm gonna be better tomorrow. Why do we want to be better? So that you can feel clear, so that you can feel great, so that you can enjoy your life without this and without your wounds constantly running the show, where you constantly feel not enough, abandoned, whatever, rejected, whatever it is specific to you. You're here to create. You're here to be the example on this planet. You're here to put out amazing things. And my whole entire life is dedicated to that. So if you want to know how to stabilize your bloom, we got you. Why? Because we've lived it. We are living it. And we understand like the back of our hand, the program, because we embodied it, to debunk it, to be here, to dissect it. We know all the things. To be able to teach you, to help you live your best freaking life. Live a life of your dreams. Feel good inside, straight across the board with everything that you do, with your conversations, with your connections, with, you know, your creativity and your joy. So to pull this all together, one of the biggest things, and this is huge, and I really want to say this so that you can look inside yourself. If you look at North America, because I'm from North America, so I can speak to this. North America has stripped us from our joy and our creativity. Notice that. And then turn that onto yourself and ask yourself, what do you actually find joy in? And what do you do for creative pursuits? Mainly even with your hands. What do you do? What brings you joy? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a craft, you know, painting, all that stuff. Me, for example, the other night, I love the singer Zach Bryan. I put my headphones on, I came onto YouTube, I watched some of his videos, and it just lit me up for 20 minutes. That was joy. I am in a new place, for example. I don't have a lot of furniture. I have an air fryer box right in front of me, and it has a vase of flowers on it, and I decorated that little corner. That brought me joy today. What do you do in your day that brings you joy outside of everything you do to function. What do you do that brings you joy and creativity outside of what you do to function? Because in order to sustain and to flip yourself, okay, so if you notice, all of a sudden you're upside down, okay, you know what that feels like. If you're upside down, how do you get yourself out of it? How do you feel better? You inject joy and creativity. That is flower food. That is flower food. And you know that because when you lived your upside down life, the upside down world entertains us and it feeds us with false joy and false creativity from being sold to. So if you look at, say you go to a concert, yeah, of course, you might inherently love that singer and you might actually just love their music. That's not wrong. But notice everything else that comes with it that piles onto your bloom to try and get you to sustain. Because past that concert, what do you got? What do you got? So really notice that. What is your joy and creativity? That is your flower food. That is going to start helping you stay the right way up or get back to the right way up so that you can then bring awareness to yourself of what you keep doing to go upside down. Because again, I have to repeat it. This centipede is so fucking loud. It is Google Maps on a megaphone that is literally trying to get you to constantly go right, when you know you want to go left. But then that feeds your wounds, that brings you to unconsciousness, and then wash, rinse, repeat. So start there. You're not crazy. But you need to use the imagery to understand yourself of what is taking place so that you can work on feeling awesome. So this isn't real. It's an amazing time. Find your joy. Find your creativity and understand yourself. Become the bloom that you are. Understand your stem, because when you're upside down, that stem just gets so manipulated and screwed up. Your portal is full of soil, full of all this energy that's not yours, and every disease and every sickness and everything is literally built from this upside down life. And I was saying to somebody the other day, just the people that, I've been mentoring for years and years, not one of us are on anything external. No vitamins, no medicine, no nothing. And that's just the natural thing that happened. It's just, people just got off of things and they don't use anything external anymore. Because what did we clue into a long ass time ago, unknown to even myself, is that we were and are self-sustaining flowers. Because when you are rooted into your own soil, when you understand that, you self-heal and you self-sustain yourself. Because even a flower in the garden, if you were to go back to the originalness of this linear timeline of now, long before technology existed, long before fertilizers existed, how did we get here? Hello, how did we get here? Things were planted into the ground, things were nourished from the soil, nature does its thing, wash, rinse, repeat in the positive way, and we recreate. How are you not that? How are you any different? When you know how and who you are energetically as the flower that you are, you can change your life, not only externally, of course, externally, but internally. Because that's the booby trap, is it not? As soon as we start feeling better externally, we want to deny that the internal doesn't necessarily match the external. But now where we're at with the flower turning the right way up, everybody starts internal. Everybody. When you realize how you're feeling, it's internal, and then the byproduct of it, the external changes. How I came up in changing in my life and getting to the point I was, it started with external, because that's where the consciousness of the planet was. I was living in the root system just like everybody who started work years and years ago, and you had to externally see everything in the root system first. Not easy. Not easy. But now, because you've said yes, I've said yes, the planet has said yes, the energy has shifted, people get to do it easier. And it's so easy. It honestly is. There's nothing to be scared of. If you're freaking scared, hello, are you charging this? Are you listening to this? The scent is seed. It is negative. It literally wants you to flip back upside down. So before I go, you're amazing. You just are. I know you might not believe it. I know you might not think that you can't change your life. I know you might think it's so hard. Centipede, centicede, not peed, seed. It's all fake. Things are intense as you have shifted. Yes, it can feel like a lot. But there's people like me, like people alongside of me that can help you, and others if you find them, whoever, I don't care. But at least understand yourself at the bare minimum so that you don't keep going upside down. You don't have to. Everything that you want, everything you are seeking, you are it. You are it. And so much more.